the slogan of shaping our digital future. The Arab International Digital Cooperation and Development Forum, the CDF, will bring together representatives and experts from Arab governments, the business sector, civil society, the technical community, academia, and international organizations. DCDF will be held virtually from 13 to 23 December 2021 by ESCWA, LAS, ITU, UNCTAD, and UN-SDGs. Through almost 30 sessions over 8 days, you can participate in policy debate on priority issues in the fields of internet policies and digital development globally and in the Arab region. DCDF aims to align the Arab tracks of the World Summit on the Information Society and the Internet Governance Forum to maximize opportunities for digital cooperation. Register now to join us in this journey from 13 to 23 December. Together, let's shape our digital future.
Good morning, everybody. Let me welcome you all and thank you for joining this very important session for us and for the community and also for the Arab world. I'm sorry. The session is dedicated for research and education networks and their role and how they can be of value to the development of community for science cooperation, for achieving the United Nations SDGs and so on. Let me quickly share my screen and start the session very quickly. Where is my screen? So again, this session is part of the Arab Digital Cooperation and Development Forum. It is spanned for more than 10 days, and we are proud that we are part of it. I would like to thank the ESCWA and the organizers who are ESCWA, League of Arab States, Arab High Level Forum on the WSIS and so on, all of them. Our session will be dedicated for digital research and education infrastructure to support science and achieve SDGs. Let me first welcome and thank our distinguished speakers from all the Arab region, starting from Mr. Fahm al-Noaimi. He's the CEO of Ankabut, the United Arab Emirates NREN. Let me welcome also Mr. Mohammed Al-Hajri. He is the infrastructure manager at Omren and acting CEO of Omren, the Omanese Research and Education Network. Let me welcome Raed Al-Zuabi. He is the director of the library in Jordan at the Jordan University for Science and Technology. Dr. Yusuf Ashour, he is the Chief Information and Technology Officer at the AUB in Lebanon. Also, Dr. Farida Al-Fasi, unfortunately, she sends her sincere apologies because she is sick and she is infected actually in COVID, so she could not join, unfortunately. And our IT consultant, and actually he's our services director, Dr. Enrico Porto. Let me welcome them all, and the reason we have sent our proposal for the session, I will not go through this because it's too long, but I will keep the slides to organizers to keep them for those who want to go for further details. But mainly we want to see to discuss the national research and education networks, and there are maturity in some countries, but there are still some countries need to develop their NRENs. We want also to address the stakeholders on how important research and education networks and their roles, and whether they can take further role during on science cooperation, open science and open access, and so on. As I said, the session will discuss mainly what are research and education networks, services that are usually provided by these networks, and some examples of engagement, and how we can be part of the efforts towards achieving the United Nations SDGs and enhance and develop science cooperation. Research and education network are the main theme. So they are dedicated networks, non-commercial, usually come at the three levels: national, at the national level, at the regional level, and at the global level. There are many drivers for that. Technological driver, which now we have, it can be, we can have the technology can enable collaboration, enable access to resources, and so on, especially those with high volume of data, data that needs a lot of CPU power or so to do the analysis and so on. In addition to other drivers, which I will not go through because of the time's sake. Research and education networks also are very important. I will now this map shows how NREs are in the region around the world. So you see most of the world now have NREs, except some parts in Africa and the Arab region. Unfortunately, Arab region also some Arab countries do not have NREs, and ASEAN is working and putting its effort towards that, developing NREs in the countries that they do not have NREs. Challenges facing us, which I think we will discuss this during the discussions part of this. We see that even those countries who have NREs, they are also struggling from many challenges. One of them is inadequate funding for NREs activities. I know NREs in some countries they have good infrastructure, but they are unable to deliver more service because there is no enough funding. The policy is not helping, especially in pricing. Also, some operators consider, and ISPs consider us as competitor, though we are customer at the end of the day. We are not building our dedicated infrastructure, but we are using their infrastructure to build our services. For example, monopoly, insufficient government support in many cases, and also the high cost of connectivity are the main challenges. So very quickly, ASEAN is the regional research and education network for the Arab region, with the vision and mission around establishing the pan-Arab dedicated research and education infrastructure. These are our objectives, mainly to build the network to support development of NREs in the Arab region, also to facilitate the cooperation among the researchers in the academia and science. So our main areas of intervention at ASEAN are mainly dedicated research and education network, at the national and regional networks, support network management. We also work on research and education services, mainly EduRoam, Federated Access, EduGain, and EduVPN, and so on. We also we work on science cooperation through the UN-SDGs, through open science, promoting open science and establishing open science platforms, infrastructure, supporting open access and open education resources and science diplomacy, and so on. Community engagement, we work directly with the research and education and science communities in the region, and so on. Alhamdulillah, ASEAN is evolving. You can see that we have NREs in most of the Arab countries, and we hope the map will include more NREs and so on. ASEAN now is recognized at the global level. We are partnered with the world. I can say that we have partnership with nearly every important stakeholder around the world. This is the main, see the research and education networks around the world, and we are part of it. I would like to thank the projects who have supported us and our colleagues in the various NREs. This is my call for Endurance now. We need to look at what's going on. There are through observation, global trends, priorities. I see climate action is very important and a priority for all countries and for the United Nations and so on. Healthcare is a very important topic also. Internet governance and various issues that we need to give an eye on from NREM perspective. United Nations SDGs, science research, education, community engagement. This is very important. Science and science diplomacy, open science and open access again, and so on. Science communities, scientific computing, science cooperation, and science cooperation platforms. I believe that I have many slides which I will not go through. But let me set some examples. We are proud of that. We are partner of various projects. Now, one very important thing that we are doing now is to get engaged with the research and education communities, mainly Earth observation, Earth monitoring, radio astronomy, digital Earth communities, synchrotron, climate communities. We are working directly with these communities so that we can be part of provide them with services, including connectivity, infrastructure, collaboration services, and access to open science and open data infrastructure and so on. As SDGs, we are. If you look at the United Nations SDGs, Endurance can be enabler for many SDGs, especially the SDG number 4, education. SDG number 7, it's about affordable and clean energy. Number 9, industry. Number 13, climate. 14, life below water. Life on land, and 17th, which is about cooperation and cooperation in general for achieving these SDGs. As I said, we are part of it. So for now, these are various activities that we have been conducting. Our participation in the COP26, our cooperation with the Science Summit at the United Nations General Assembly 76. We have been also at the Internet Governance Forum speaking about Earth observation and the future of research data to save the planet. We have been part also in open science. We have contributed to UNESCO's open science recommendation. We have also been speaking to research education in Brazil, Internet Society, now on, and so on. And we are trying to build the science triangle between Europe, Africa, the Arab region, I mean, and Latin America. So by this, I will end my slides. And sorry if I took much time. Let me now move to our distinguished speakers. Let me welcome our brother, Dr. Fahim Al-Nuaimi. He's the CEO of Ankabut. Dr. Fahim, the floor is yours now, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Youssef. It was really a pleasure to be with you today, and I thank you for this opportunity. And we are proud that we are part of ASUN and part of these communities. And I will share with you the updates and where we are going and our plan for coming years. But after thanking everybody for collaboration, I need to emphasize on what Dr. Ibrahim said, that funding, local policy, ISP, monopoly, and all other tight costs, it is really a challenge for every Emblem. But just we want to share with you that in UAE, it's no more a challenge for us, because we tried, even we are supporting the research and education, but we become a self-sustained organization, and we are proud of that. So we generate our own revenue and with a profit as well. We send the profit back to the education and research because we don't have somebody to give the share. So I will share with you today the updates, what's going on in Ankabut. As you know, UAE is always looking for tomorrow and for future. So we always follow our leadership where they are going. And we tried to focus on what type of services the Emblem can provide, which is the main pillar. And if you notice in the top, we call it Ankabut 50. So we launched a new brand called Ankabut at 50. where we are thinking in 2050 how it would look, Ankabut. What will be there in 2050? Who will run these networks? What type of service it will give? How it can be sustainable? So I encourage every NREN in the Arab world not to think only today how to sustain and to continue. No, think in 2050 what you will do. What is your role between these all, as Dr. Ibrahim said, tight monopoly, tight sharks everywhere in this ocean. So we said we will focus on 4 pillars: network connectivity and service, cloud service, managed service, and consultancy service. We focus on this 4 pillars. I have good news, Mr. Youssef. Ankabut has been expanded to 40 gig backbone. So now we are 40 gig backbone, and we open the access to every client in UAE with dark fiber from 100 MB to 10 gig. So the institute in UAE now can have 10 gig connectivity point to point to their network or to their cloud. We are proud of that. So we expand our networks, we expand our capacity. Plus, we open the link to UK London. So now Ankabut has connectivity to UK as well as to New York mainland. So now we are connecting both ways, to the Jaunt via London, and also to the internet to Canary and Japan via New York. So not only we expand the backbone and connectivity to the client, but also we increase the connectivity to the world. The things which force us to go with 40 gig and 10 gig access, because we start giving high performance computing as a service to all universities in UAE as an open, and we start the latest, I will talk about it within a few minutes, the latest software defined data centers, which start giving artificial intelligence, Hadoop, Kubernetes, container, big data analytic, blockchains, and all these. So because the NREN cannot, this is my advice to every CEO of any NREN. If you depend only on the government to support you, you will not sustain. In this part of the world, at least, you will not sustain, because the competition is high and the awareness. So what we need from all NREN, and we need it from ASREN also, to enhance the awareness to the leadership in the Arab countries. They have to enhance the awareness of the importance of this NREN for their country, to the ministers, to the government, to the Arab leagues. We have to promote this NREN between the leadership, because if the leadership didn't believe in this NREN, that support will not be like what we see in Europe or everywhere. So that's awareness is very important. Plus, I encourage every CEO to look to his organization as if, yes, I'm not making profit, I'm not a profit unit, but still, I have to sustain, I have to have a revenues. So we have to look at it. So this is from a connectivity point of view. Definitely, EduRoam is expanding in UAE and it's happening very fast. So we are joining, every month we are joining new universities. So we give every EduRoam everywhere in UAE now. Data centers, we create one of the piece of art data center. It is uptime certified, a latest technology, where we provide not only hosting the clouds and hosting the servers, but also we give disaster recovery. So we are ready to collaborate with any NREN in the world or in the Arab countries. If they want to have disaster recovery with Ankabut, we are ready to give them the best, even better than the big service provider, Azure or Amazon or anyone. We can give them DR as a service even in a spot. So our data center now, the new one is piece of art, the latest DCIM and 24/7. It has all the type of service which any data center is providing. So as I said, Ankabut Cloud Mazoon at 50. This we are thinking 2050, what will be there. So computing service, elastic service, virtual cloud, auto scaling, security, big data analytic, Kubernetes, containers, Hadoop, elastic, load balancer, elastic IP, VPNs, virtual firewall. We can give complete data center as virtual instead of building a new data center. So we are dreaming of Mazoon tomorrow. It will be the platform for all the education in UAE as well as in the world in the future, inshallah. So it has a lot of things. It has a DR, it has a backup, 24/7 monitoring, first software-defined center in UAE. Even we, and this is advice to the CEOs or heads of the NREN, don't put yourself always below the service provider. Always think you are, مثل ما نقول نحن بالعربي, need to need, sorry I say it in Arabic. We are equal to them and even sometimes better. That's why how we behave, how we actions. So when we develop the software-defined data center in UAE, no one have it, even the service provider. Yes, they have billions, but they don't have the vision which we have for the tomorrow of the educations. There is a lot of research going on in UAE now and going in Ankabut, either in genetic, in genome, or in nuclear. It's happening in Ankabut cloud and Ankabut high-performance computing. And we give backup as a service as well. So we provide backup as a service. Disaster recovery as a service, as I mentioned just now, zero investment, very reliable, high availability, scale down and up, the proper RTO and PRO, and it's in the cloud. You need to promote the cloud services in your country. You have to tell the universities that the cloud, I know there is a politics, I know there is a special interest in every institute, with every university, but you have to sell the cloud services to the head of the university and to the decision maker in your country. Definitely high performance computing. Now we are one of the best high performance provider in the country with the CPU and GPU and so many things. Plus we start, my friends, we start giving AI service platform. So we have now full AI platform services. In the Ankabut, we do big data, we do a lot of things. Content moderation, image search. So we tried, because to be honest with you, I don't see any NREN start launch going inside this deep and make it as a service from their infrastructures. Where we in Ankabut, we already having our own AI in our software-defined data centers. Again, we are, by the way, now fighting with the service provider because we launched our blockchain. And thanks God, we have so far 3 institutes, all their certificates or all their digitalized processing via Ankabut blockchain. In Ankabut blockchain, we call it Musaddaqa. You know Musaddaqa in Arabic. We in Arab world always, as graduates, we run after the Ministry of Higher Education or the Ministry of Education to stamp for us the certificate and make it tasdeeq or whatever we call it, Musaddaqa. Now we moved so far 3 universities to our Musaddaqa, so you can get the certificate, the passport anytime you want, and it works very fine. And I encourage all NREN to start thinking about the credential of any report or certificate via something like this via blockchain. So Musaddaqa is a new service, Dr. Yusuf, we are launching for certifications. Definitely, this Musaddaqa has a lot of feature, security, uptime, 24/7, customized, maturity, reliability, very robust. Now, we moved even behind the networks and behind the data centers in the cloud, and we open our own SOC. Today, Ankabut owns SOC end-to-end, from log collections to analytic to remediation to full SIM solution, with multi-factor authentication, with PAM, with IAM, with all, even security awareness. So it is security end-to-end we provided to the institutes. And that's really helping us a lot in creating revenue as well. So please, as NREN, Muhammad from NREN and others, please focus on how you create your revenue, because I'm sure, see, when I start this, when I start managing this unit in 2012, to be honest with you, and then maybe this is the first time I say it, I learned a lot from people like Mr. Yusuf Torman, from David Lamberg, from people I was learning to, and still I'm learning. And I thank them for their advice, for their awareness, because when you know that, as Dr. Yusuf said, when you know there is no fund, when you know there is a competition, when you know there is no policies, you have to do for yourself, to sustain, to stay, to be capable to develop. If I have no cash, I cannot develop the services. At the same time, I'm maintaining that I'm serving the universities. I don't put them in the profit like others. Wiqaya, we have it as what's called security awareness. So we do complete awareness, phishing email, phishing campaign, auto securities, risk scoring, all these things we do, we call it wiqaya. So we do wiqaya before we do the complete. Also, we developed our own LMS. Today, our own LMS, it has more than 30,000 students in UAE. And we develop the code and we give it with very, very low cost. And thanks God, today more than 6 institutes, including Abu Dhabi Police Sheikh Hussein bin Zayed Academy, they are using our model-based Kutab. We call it Kutab and developed here. Because sometime when we went to the applications serving the community of education, we found it very expensive. If you go to these business solutions available in the market, it's very expensive and it is not that difficult to create it. So we create a unit just for coding and we launch Kutab. Today, Kutab has more than 30,000 students doing everything as learning system in it, and it is integrated with all type of solutions. Makhzan, we call it Makhzan because it is data storage. So we give data storage as a service as well. In the library as well, we create our own library based on Koha, and today it has 350 libraries working in this solution. So, and this is how you contribute to your community. We gave all these solutions to the Ministry of Education for free. Today, 300 library in the Ministry of Education working in our solution, in our crowd for free. We call it Warraqa. And we gave it as a contribution from Ankabut to the community of UAE and to the Ministry of Education. Yes, we have other operator, customer paying for this and paying what? It's nothing. As if their party, which they do every month in the university, they pay it for this library system. So we try to reduce the cost in the university as well with this system. Definitely, we have reached 24/7. We give 24/7 support to our clients with a complete SLA and KPIs. We cancel it as a service, or we give it also as a free of charge when you are subscribing with us. We do manage IT services end to end. We are happy that to announce by end of 2021, we exceed 100 million of managed IT service only. So we have a contract exceeding 100 million only managed IT service. And we manage everything from people all the way to the solutions and clouds and first level, second level operations. So we go also consultancy. We went, please don't think that NREN, because I'm really upset with people who said NREN is mean only link and have link between universities. NREN is not only link. If it is only link, then give it to the service provider to provide it, and they will give cheap rate to the universities. The NREN should be everything. You should help researcher. You have help the initiatives. For example, we have here initiatives now in COVID-19 research and a lab of research. We are extending 10 gig fiber to them to make their life easy between different center and different UAE locations. We're trying to serve in 100,000 genome projects in UAE, where we give them the complete technologies for that. So it's mixed between services, networks, and consultancies. And it works. In UAE, it works. And we are happy, to reach to that level in UAE. Also, the final message I want to leave, I hope, Mr. Yusuf, I didn't take more time than what suppose I take. I think I took already, but I apologize for that for my colleagues. But just to let you know, Ankabut, by January 2020, it will be private service provider company in UAE. Licensed services to the education and non-education by January 2022. There we can support, there we can extend our services and really make the education having opportunities to have the best network and have the best services with very low cost price. Finally, we are ready to collaborate with anyone who have real initiatives. It can work and it can help our nations in the Arab world and in the world as well, because UAE is open. I wish to thank you again for this opportunity given to me. I don't deserve all what good words said by Yusuf to me, and I'm smaller than that. But I'm proud of his as a brother and as learning from him as a teacher as well to us. And I promise you, as I promised you before a few years, Ankabut will remain the first. Ankabut will remain in the beginning, the top of this race of the Imran in the Arab world. And we are open for any sharing, coordinations, doing service together to all members. Thank you very much, and I apologize if I took a long time.
Thank you, Abu Majid. Thank you very much. What you presented is worth waiting and listening, so don't bother about the time.
Okay. Sure.
The time was very useful for us, and we are proud also of Ankabut and by Mr. Fahim also and his team. And we are happy to congratulations for the new link, and we do agree that it's not only about connectivity, about service, about engagement, and getting more and more tools and technologies to support the collaboration between researchers and education communities and so on. So congratulations, and we need to move quickly to our colleagues from Oman.
Thank you.
Mr. Mohammed Al-Hajari, I think we don't have questions now, but maybe we may start the discussion after we finish the presentations, in case we had some time. I hope we can have time. So to avoid wasting more time, let me invite Mohammed Al-Hajari from Omrin. He's the acting director of the Omani Research and Education Network after the death of our brother Abdul Munim, Allah yarhamu. تفضل. Go ahead, Mohammed. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Just I'm sorting something. First of all, I would like to congratulate Abu Majid and Ankabut for their achievement and approach.
Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I would like to recall and appreciate the great efforts and achievement of our late director, Dr. Abdul Manan Al-Harousi. Thanks, Dr. Yusuf Torman, to give a chance today to Omran to participate in this event. Thank you all for attending the session. I would like to briefly share with you today Omran's success story in phase 1 of the last 5 years. Oman Research and Education Network, also known as Omran, it is the official national research and education network in Oman. The project ambition in mind is to centralize the services and subscriptions for the researchers and for the research and education community in Oman. To do so, we have devoted our effort in phase 1 of the project to establish a unified local network to connect and support the research and education community in the country, as well as enhancing their connectivity experience. The real challenge was in 2016, when Omran had a fund from the government with over $28 million, but unfortunately, the financial crisis happened, and suddenly that fund turned to zero. Did the project stop? No. Did Omran team lose hope? Of course no. We started looking into other concepts and other funding models to continue, and we found the best is to go with collaboration and aligning our vision with local ISP from private sector. Today, we are very proud to exceed the target and manage to connect all of our members with MPLS links, and furthermore, Omran providing ILL links and international links to connect the members to Giant, Internet 2, APAN, and ASRAN. Before Omran, there were many challenges that Omran member used to face, as it shows in this slide: high cost of connectivity, slowness of the internet speed, lack of digital library, many subscriptions with different publishers, which is as very well known, very expensive, no international collaboration, high cost of cloud and data center solutions and services. Viewers, we would like to tell you today that Omran started enabling the services based on the community needs. Today, we are very proud to exceed our expectations in the number of services enabled by the connectivity links. Hence, we are currently providing 18 services to our community, 85% of the students in higher education in the country are already connected to Omran. 93% of the researchers benefiting Omran services. 90% of the universities are members and subscribe to Omran. Furthermore, we are proud that unsubscribed organizations in the country start to approach Omran themselves. This is definitely means a lot to us in terms of trust, quality of services, the community itself starting to accept the changes. This is simple demonstration of our infrastructure where the members are connected with very high-speed MPLS links displayed in red colors to each other. Furthermore, the members are connected to Omran data center where all Omran services are hosted. In this scenario, we have three great advantages for the members using MPLS connection. The members can reach Omran services which are hosted in Omran data center by MPLS links. The second advantage is that the members can reach the international services provided by the organization shown on the left-hand side by the same MPLS connection. Because there is an international link from Omran data center to international organization shown on the left-hand side, the member can reach international services without utilizing their own internet connection. The third advantage that members can build side-to-side VPN over the existing MPLS connection with other members. In this case, they will save their ILL utilization for other users. On top of that, Omran providing ILL connection, minimum of 50 MB up to 1 GB as it shows in green. In this slide, we see the Emblem ecosystem. Please keep in mind that this is from our own perspective, whereby the number in the left-hand side of the picture shows yellow are not involved in Emblem community. It means that they have their own digital library subscriptions, high internet connection cost, and the important point that they are not collaborating with others. I would like to share with you a short story about the cost and what difference Omran made. One of our current members used to pay $49,000 a month for only ILL connection of 150 Mbps, and that is before joining Omran. Today, they are paying $18,000 for a comprehensive package of 500 Mbps ILL connection plus 500 Mbps MPLS connection plus international connectivity and another 15 services. These are the benefits being with Omran, as it shows in the right-hand side. Once a member joining Omran community, it's enabled the organization of getting various of services, as well as to be connected with other members locally and internationally. These are the services provided by Omran to the members. EduRoam, it's very well known. Mursal is the file sender which has been set up to utilize MPLS connection instead of internet. Shu'a is Oman research repository. Masadir is Omran digital library. Speed test is a special tool that the member can test their MPLS connectivity. Omran data center providing many services with very special prices for Omran members. EduGain, we keep informing and introduce new services provided by EduGain to our member and updated in our website. We are providing an account to every member where they can issue unlimited number of SSL certificates for totally free. We are providing over 1 million of IPv6 to each of our members for free. We are providing up to 32 static public IPs of IPv4 to every member for free. And as well as we are hosting our members domain for free. We believe that collaboration is a key element to move forward and achieve more. In our journey, we are grateful that we had the support of many experts and leaders from the international research and education community. We are always keen to learn and gain knowledge, and we trust that such collaboration and initiatives are essential for any Emblem. Furthermore, we call today for more collaboration in the Emblem community and hope for suitable policies to support Emblem from decision makers. Omran long-term target is to enhance the facilities for the members and encourage to reach the innovation level. To reach innovation level, they need to collaborate with each other, supporting each other, align the efforts. To do so, they need to be connected to each other. This is the reason why we have connect, collaborate, innovate as Omran slogan. Thank you very much for your time. Mohammed Al-Hajri, it has been a pleasure to be with you today.
Many thanks, Mr. Mohammed Al-Hajri, very informative, and we are also proud of Oman, and we pray for our brother Abdul Manan for his achievements and for his brotherhood and so on, all of that. So thank you very much, and again, we are proud of Omran and wish the best for them. As I said, we are more than connectivity, more than Endren. That's why we invited librarians to speak in the conference and scientists to speak also. So let's start with our colleague and Raed Al-Zobi, he's director of the library of the, it's my university, so I am a bit biased, but I think he will give you some good idea on the role of Endrins, where are they, and so on. Raed Al-Zobi is director of the library at the Jordan University of Science and Technology. Raed, the floor is yours now, please.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf. Thank you all. It is my honor and pleasure to be among distinguished speakers today in the CDC forum. I will be talking about libraries' role in the open science era. I'll try to be brief to save time. We are talking about libraries in general. You can't refer to library as a collection of resources, printed resources in the past and a little bit of the current, and digital resources is dominant right now. You can talk about a library as a building or space where you can provide services. Maybe this is into public libraries which do social services. Maybe you're talking about the library as a function, and this is referred to the organization itself. What will be the function of the library? And you can talk about the library as a service, supporting the context of the organization itself. Academic libraries in general are meant to be specialized libraries where they are traditionally, their rule was to avail, or and still actually to avail, maintain publications, either physical and digital. The digital is dominant right now, and make them discoverable to patrons and users. Also, academic libraries, it's good to say that they need to be more creative, because things are moving rapidly and dynamically and evolving actually, and even digital content which is used to be, and still for a limit to be a paid subscription, is moving even at the publisher side to be open access. And so the libraries and librarians need to think and be creative and innovative in their vision to the future. It's good to be for libraries to be the information gateways in the digital age, either bi-directional, to be gateway bi-direction, either to their users and patrons, to the world, or to the where, to the content available in the institution itself. When talking about open science, as you know, open science is a practice rather than being referring to content or services. So it's a practice, a collaboration, a contribution, sharing research data, lab notes, maybe services, maybe computing services or other services, consultation, and make it freely available with terms that ensure reuse, redistribution, reproduction of the research, and underlying data and methods. And it's a short session, so I will not be talking about FAIR, which is the trend of library and science, and the focus now about FAIR, which is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Academic library, to be honest, already start to get involved in the new era. The libraries you can find, they are promoting open access. They are setting publishing services. They are developing research, or maybe involved in developing research data and management policy, and they are running repositories of their own institutions. This slide shows when we are talking about open science and open access, it's worth to talk about open access journals. This data is taken from the Shimago journal ranking list. And as you know, Shimago data is based on Scopus data. So as you can notice, in the year 2000, 7% of the top journals worldwide were open access. In 2010, this ratio became 12%. And the last year, the year 2020, it became 21% of the top journals worldwide, ranked journals worldwide, are open access. And this is most likely will increase and decrease in the coming years. It's worth to say also that open science is, we don't mean open access. Open access, as you can notice, is part of the open science. It's just a part of the whole picture of open science. Open science have so many practices, so many terms, so many tools and policies and regulations, and so. So what about libraries, academic libraries rule in the open science era? And it's good that the organizations and the international organizations, stakeholders worldwide, they are acknowledging and they are admitting or recognizing actually the role of academic libraries, and in UNESCO declarations and other organizations declarations and policies and the plans. They are recognizing the library role, and the rule will be as an enabler in the open science to support the open science practices and community research and education community as well. So how will libraries be as enablers? They can work in preserving, connecting, and encouraging of the scholarly content of their institution. They can give a support to the infrastructure, infrastructure, discovery tools, the repositories, and other supporting tools. They can contribute to the research and the data management policies and the strategies. They can play a significant role in advocacy and awareness on the benefits of open science. They can also play a role in training and supporting researchers for the open for research and open science workflows. For sure, there's challenges, and as you know, maybe the traditional rule of the barriers make a kind of lack for expertise and personnel with good competences and skills to play the role in the coming era. These are some of the competencies and skills needed in the coming era. Ability to advise on preserving research output, knowledge and advising on data management, curation, knowledge and to support research and complying with the mandates of funders, knowledge to advise on potential data manipulation, knowledge to advise on data mining, knowledge to advocate and advise on the use of metadata, ability to advise on the preservation of projects, records, knowledge of source of research funding assist, skills to develop metadata schema, and other competences and skills as well when it comes to infrastructure and running repositories, discovering tools, and so on. So for libraries, I think there are, as mentioned, there is admission of the library rules, and there is support, and support actually started to get clear. And these are examples of entities, organizations that can support libraries and their coming rules. We can talk about the global organizations such as UNESCO, as you know, have their declaration on open science recently. For the Arabic region, we have regional organizations like the Alexo that can support in this issue. Also associations like the Association of Arab Universities, they can play a significant role in connecting Arabic institutions together. And for sure, research and regional research and education networks with partnership with their active ANRENs. ASRIN also, we know that ASRIN is doing well when it comes to connecting all players worldwide together. And many thanks again to Mr. Yusuf for the invitation and for adopting the support of libraries in the coming years. I hope I didn't take that much of time. Thank you again. I will stop sharing my screen right now. And
so thank you very much, Raed. Following Raed's presentation, actually, ASRIN is taking a good role in first of all, in promoting open science and open access in general, but also we are taking steps further to support the. We are in lengthy and in-depth discussions with the UNESCO to be part of the support on developing a national roadmap on open science, and we already started that. We are also in partnership with, we already signed an agreement with the Association of Arab Universities to work together, collaborate on supporting the development of one of them at the policy level, the second to promote the open science and open access at the policy level. The other aspect is on capacity building level, and the third aspect is on enabling, bringing some enablers for open science and open access. And we already started that. We will adapt a regional harvesting infrastructure. This harvesting infrastructure will be to interconnect, to harvest data from the open data repositories in the Arab region into one, to be accessed through one main platform, which we are now about to install and operate at our own cloud, that we will be presented later on by my colleague Eriko, that we have a cloud, basic cloud infrastructure to provide service on that. So in open science and open, and that's why the library of JUST is one of the very important libraries that we are collaborating with. So our next speaker, actually the next planned speaker is Dr. No, it's actually the next speaker is Dr. Yusuf Asfour. Dr. Yusuf Asfour is very active. He has he's bringing support to ASRIN, and we are happy with cooperation with him to lead the creation of NREN in Lebanon, given the challenges that you all know. So Yusuf, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you for the opportunity to chat with you all today and to be part of this great panel. I won't take much long. I'm not sure which screen you're seeing. Are you seeing the slide screen or the note screen? Just
We are seeing full screen. Take care, creating collaborative.
Great. So what I'd like to do today is spend a few minutes just telling you about why we built an NREN in Lebanon and how we went about building it. But if you start thinking about things, if you look at the true innovations in the world, for example, Colossus, that was a computer that was built in the 1940s to break the Nazi codes. And the way it happened is it involved a lot of government and private scientists, and it spun off many technologies, including computers and encryption that we use today. GPS is another great innovation that was built by the US Navy to locate submarines, but it also involved cooperation of tens of scientists by noticing that the timing from satellites can be measured and can be used to measure distance and triangulate. The moon landing is another great innovation that actually was developed to meet a set of challenges that President Kennedy set. And it involved the collaboration of private industry, government, and academia. And as importantly, spun off many, many new everyday technologies, from materials like Kevlar to fabrics, to nutrition, to robotics, and to medical innovations. And of course, everybody knows CERN. It was set up to better understand physics and how it works. And this is another case where you had thousands of scientists from tens of countries working all together. And the end result resulted with several Nobel Prizes, but also major advances in computer science. And the latest discovery, I believe, was the discovery of the Higgs boson. The internet is another great innovation. And basically it helped advance research among the government in the US. Was a collaboration between universities and the government, but it led to what the world is today. In fact, you can argue that it's revolutionized the way we do everything. So if you start looking at all those innovations and what they did, other than being innovative, they also created new technologies, new services. They changed the world we do. And you start thinking about what's common among them. Well, the first thing that's common among all of them is that most innovations are driven by a grand challenge. They all were designed to help solve a big problem that nobody else could. In the case of the SpaceX project, it was, for example, designed to help us move to see how we can move off the Earth and go live somewhere else. The other common aspect of innovations is that they're based on a collection of ideas that came before. For example, if you look at the iPhone, which also has transformed our lives, you can think of it as the combination of the mobile phone along with the computer, along with the internet, combining them all together to make it one device. A third aspect of all those innovations is that it required different talents. For example, Apple Computer could not have succeeded if you did not have Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, the business person and the technologist, that working together. And of course, another aspect of all those innovations is it's the result of cooperation between groups of people and organizations. An example of that is the World Space Station, where it included the cooperation of tens of countries and hundreds of organizations, both public, private, and academic, to make it happen. And of course, I think we've heard about this all through this, is it also requires collaborative funding. We need to find ways to fund this from different sources. So with putting all these together, the good news is Lebanon and the world has enough grand challenges. The SDGs provide us with 17 goals that are all very big, challenging goals that are important to the world. And I think based on that, we have the great issues and great challenges that we need for innovation. In Lebanon also, we have a lot of things that already exist. For example, we have the alphabet. We have scientists who have invented new chemical processes and chemical systems. We have nutritionists that have developed new baby foods, such as Lubina. And we have entrepreneurs that are setting up all kinds of innovative ways to do things. So in the sense that we have the grand challenges, we have all the ideas to build on. We even have many efforts to support innovation. In Lebanon, we have lots of organizations trying to help the innovative and entrepreneurial environment and research. But what we lack is a way to encourage collaboration. We're looking for ways to encourage collaboration between all those entities, between all those individuals, between all those organizations, so that we can address those grand challenges and also address those in a way that will allow us to be impactful innovations. So that's where the NREN came from. So we set out to create a Lebanese NREN, National Research and Education Network, to create a research collaboration program, to contribute to technology services, and to participate in the regional, global, and regional connectivity initiatives and bring benefits to the collective buying power and procuring networks for people on a national basis. The effort started back in 2011. However, as the NREN was being designed, it was in the classical approach, well, how do we build a network to connect the universities and the research institutions so that they can collaborate? And we ran into multiple, although the Ministry of Higher Education and our research institutions and the universities really wanted to make that happen, challenges with infrastructure, challenges with funding, legal aspects, and politics prevented us from doing that. So instead of getting stuck, what we decided to do is flip the NREN on its head. So we decided, instead of building a network, we decided to start building a collaborative community and services that meet our research and education needs. Keep in mind that what we're really trying to do here is to find a way to have researchers and educators collaborate so that we can foster and encourage research and innovation. And if building a network did not help it, then the focus was, well, let's build the community and let's build it on building services. And we started by bringing EduRoam for AUB, and then the American University of Beirut. And then from AUB, we started talking to other universities to share it with other universities. We also used that collaboration and that service, EduRoam, to start building a community and build collaboration between the universities, to the point where then we reached out to Giant and Asren, and we had built a connection to them directly. And then we set up a governance model that allowed us to build a model where we could have an organization that has three pillars. One is that it had to be a democratic organization, and so between all the members. So one member, one vote, and new members were accepted by majority. We also tried to address the funding issue by basically saying, okay, the funding is from each of the universities as part of the NREN, and we created a very simple mandatory fee that provided services, but also provided additional services that people would pay for as they used. And then we created services that were basically, most of them optional, but each one of those services is led by one of the volunteer institutions. So by creating this collaboration between the universities, by connecting them to Asren and Giant, and by starting to provide some simple services, we were able to create an NREN without having to deal with the politics, with the funding issues, and also with the network issues. And that's why we call our NREN TechCare, the Technology Collaboration Agreement for Research and Education. And with that, we ended up convincing 5 universities to start, and 5 universities immediately started, including the American University of Beirut, UZEC, the University of San Joseph, Beirut Arab University, and the Lebanese American University. And once we had those 5 universities in there, we were able to increase our connectivity to the out of the world from 10 meg to 5 gigabits. That's where we are today. And we also started adding new services, including EduRoam, Life, which is the Lebanese Identity Federation System. We also provide now unlimited number of certificates to our members. And by also going and negotiating collectively to build the network and connectivity with Asren, we were able to convince our ISP to provide us with free connectivity between the universities. And so we ended up building the NREN backbone actually for free. And by doing that, we very quickly grew from 5 to 9 universities. Now we have most of the accredited university in Lebanon as part of the NREN, and we're still growing. And basically, by focusing on the services instead of the network, we were able to have taken the need to connect, to get the institutions to collaborate and create an NREN without a network. And guess what? We did all of this for free. So back to the basic issues that were raised in the previous speakers, we were able to address the funding by making sure that we're collaborating and trying to get negotiating services for free. So in the end, we ended up making it easier to provide innovative research and education services such as EduRoam, federated services. We're also now working on putting in high-performance computer system and specialized computer for all the NREN members, cloud services, and smart services. So I just want to leave with one last statement mentioned by Harry Truman, and that is, it is amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit. And basically, the way we built the NREN is by getting all the community members to work together, working for a common cause, for a grand challenge, which is to have the universities and the research institutions to collaborate so that we can create innovation and move everything forward. And by focusing on that, we ended up building a whole bunch of services and an NREN, and it's been quite a success despite everything else. So thank you, everyone. I hope that was interesting, and I'll hand the floor back to you, Yusuf. Thank you.
It is interesting. It is. Yeah, really. Yusuf, I take this story with me all over the world. I keep saying this story. It's really different story. We are proud of what you have achieved, given the challenges you have. So I'm proud again with what you have achieved, and we are learning. Actually, we're taking the model, one of the models, to the world. Look at the challenges and try to work around these challenges. So congratulations and good job, Yusuf.
Thank you. And anything we can do to help, we'll be more than happy to do so. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. As I said, in our plan, we plan to have a scientist, a researcher to be with us to see what are their needs and how they can make use of this infrastructure. This is one reason for inviting that speaker. And the other reason is that we are at ASRIN, and we are encouraging our entrants also to collaborate directly with the science communities. So she was planned to present about Arab physical community. It's about the community of physicists who are working together around the Arab region. And she wanted to demonstrate how they can use the infrastructure, and we wanted to demonstrate how we can serve the research and education communities to better do research altogether. Unfortunately, she is infected and she is unable to join. So this is the message that I wanted to share with you about her participation. Let me move to my colleague, Enrico Porto. He will be speaking from Brazil, but he is part of ASRIN team, which is working from all over the world. So, Enrico, the floor is yours now.
Thank you, Yusuf. It's a pleasure to be here and among all these distinguished colleagues, and to be able to do that participation. And I was thinking about the question of this panel. What are research and education networks, and what is their importance? So, and I try to answer that with my presentation, at least my view, my take on this, on the process. So let me share my presentation here. Okay. So I want to take a ride on the history of research and education networks, on the process of the inception of network. And I want to start with a little history on how the internet was born, because I believe it's important in terms of the context. So the internet was born academic, in its inception. It was an effort. The origin of the internet was the ARPANET in the US, and it was created during the 70s for the researchers to be able to exchange. I believe that most of the people here in this, the panelists, remember the time where we had to write letters and wait for the answers if we want to communicate. So in order to make the process of science development more efficient, they connected some computers locally. Started in California, started on the west coast of the US, and to be able to exchange information, to publish their papers, and to exchange, reviewing those papers more quickly. And it started to grow, and at some point during the 70s, we had not only in the US, but some international links creating the possibility of expanding that communication to outside of the US and to other regions of the world. And at some point during the 90s, the internet became really global, mainly concentrated in the US at first, but really starting to exchange communication to several parts of the world. And this is a very interesting map because it shows the traffic flow during 1993 when the internet was global. And you see that it's mainly concentrated on the US, but you have a lot of communication going on to other parts of the world. But it was becoming a truly global network. And by the era of the Clinton administration, they decided on the privatization of the internet backbone. And that was more or less the time where these services, this connectivity between institutions passed from the public, the governmental administration, to the commercial administration, to the private sector. And it was done in a very good way in order to not have just one provider dominating everything. So it was distributed. And that's where it was created, this concept of client and provider. So how do you access the internet? Usually you have to connect some data transmission equipment to a link of a certain capacity, which creates, that dichotomy between private provider of a service and the client of a service. So the client of a service is the one that uses that urban connection, that digital circuit of a certain capacity to transmit data and send the data to somewhere else on the world. And but the interesting thing is that the initial idea of the concept of creating networks, the demandings of the researchers, they are still there, they still exist. And this is another interesting map that shows the growth of the internet during the 20s. It's interesting because it showed the evolution and how the internet very quickly start to grow and start to provide the service. And the service is there. You acquire some the providers of internet. You acquire some capacity. This capacity is available for you, and it's used mostly for leisure. You can use it to sell things. So the internet has a very broad usage. But the necessities of the researcher, the initial necessity of the research and the requirements, they were still there. And that's why research and education networks, they were created, They were created in order to give some capacity available. These networks, they are semi-isolated. They run in parallel with the internet, but they are used exclusively to transmit data that makes sense, transmit data that is valuable for the researchers in order to facilitate their work in the development of science. So this concept of research and education network was created to maintain the initial idea of the creation of networks and to be able to exchange data very efficiently, very quickly, and on a sustainable bandwidth between research centers. And the research and education networks, they mimic, at a certain level, the way that the internet operates. So the internet, we have providers, local providers, and you have what's called the tier 1 providers. The tier 1 providers are the big providers of internet access, and they interconnect amongst themselves, making some arrangements to have the traffic flowing. So when you send a packet to your local provider, you don't have control where this traffic is going all around the world. It depends on the agreements that the tier 1 providers, they have between themselves. But the research and education networks, they try to keep a sustainable bandwidth available and to keep that system, you know, under a controlled and sustainable way, so we can have the traffic being exchanged. And the requirements, as most of our panelists have talked before me, they are very stringent. So these are some examples of networks around the world. We have the Internet 2 in the US. We have the GIANT, which is a big partner of ASREN in this sense. This slide was shown by Youssef previously. It's our sister regional network with the Latin America network. So those are the big tier 1 providers, the equivalent to the big tier 1 providers of the internet, and that make available the connection. And the clients in this sense, in this world of the research and education, they are national research and education networks, which aggregates the research centers, the universities and research centers. So this is a kind of a map of how the world is connected today in terms of cabling systems and capacities available all around the world that interconnects every region of the planet. And here we have a small map of our corner of the world in the Arabic region. This is a work in progress, and under the funding from the Africa Connect and the UMed Connect projects, we are able to establish real connections of a certain capacity for Tunisia and for Morocco and also for Jordan. The ASREN network, we have 2 points of presence, one in London, which makes sense because it's very close to the European Research and Education Network. And we also have a point of presence in Jordan that we established mainly for the collaboration with the Sesame Institute, which works in particle physics. So this is a work in progress where we still have some old connections, and you can see by this map that we have some countries that are not yet not connected to ASREN directly, but they have some other connections to one other of those tier 1 research and education providers like Internet 2. We saw the presentation from Ankabut and we saw the presentation from Oman, and you see that they have connectivity. Also, Lebanon, AUB, they also have connectivity, although they have a tunnel connecting them directly to ASREN over the internet. So it's kind of a mix. So we mix some, private services in the research and education context, and we also have some use of the commercial internet providers in this sense. We mix and match in order to provide the services these days. But how those networks, they support research? And this is also something that we covered in the previous presentations. And we know that those areas where it makes sense to support research, which was the original idea of the creation of those networks, is because the particle accelerators in particle physics studies, we have a lot of data. And this data is not necessarily processed and statistically analyzed on the same place that's where they are generated. And it makes sense to collaborate and to send those data to different parts of the world in order for the computers in those parts of the world be able to analyze the data and make sense of that data and also create some results. So that's the way it works. And it also helps the students, the students of particle physics that have no direct access to those colliders, to be able to analyze the data and produce science in this sense. So these are some examples of how research and education networks help in development of science. And some of those examples, they were covered previously in the previous presentations. So we have telemedicine, we have digital libraries, right? Astronomy. Astronomy is one field where we are very active. You know, Chile, the country, Chile is a very good place to set up telescopes because they have a very clean climate, and because of the altitude. So it makes a lot of sense to set up telescopes there and make the data of those telescopes, including remote access to those telescopes, to students all around the world, you know, to research centers in the US or in Europe. So, you know, that's the way that research and education networks make the data, you know, available everywhere. Other examples are the climate studies that were covered before, and also global warming, and much more. You know, one thing that we can assess from that is, you know, is impressive the speed and how expedite we were able to produce a vaccine, you know, to create a vaccine, test that vaccine, and distribute that vaccine for the COVID-19. So this is a big example of something happening today that was facilitated, you know, the velocity, how we were able to produce a vaccine for COVID-19 was a very good example, a very good today example on how research and education networks make the perfect vehicle, you know, to development of science. But I took a ride on the history and I took a ride on the technical aspects, but that's not really the point. The point I would like to make here, that goes beyond this technical stuff, is about building communities. You know, in a sense, I think that this is much more than just the technical stuff, and it's like Yusuf said in his presentation, is about building communities, and this is something that I think it's the very core of research and education. In that sense, we have some examples of communities that we know. We have communities that are built around bricks, you know, and that's the easy one. Everybody here resides on some community that's basically built around bricks. But we also have communities that are built around rules, you know. Building communities around rules is another example. So some of the communities that we know that we are part of, they are built around rules, what you should do, what is built around common sense. But, you know, research and education I think, is a different kind of community. And I think this is a community that is built around generosity. You know, and I like to think that. I like that to think that it goes beyond, you know, just the technical stuff. Of course, that we need the technical stuff because we need to manage all those connections, all those equipment. We need to buy equipment. We need to secure connectivity. We need to make the best deals that we can with the telecom providers in order to secure the channel that will allow us to move data from A to B. But more than that, you know, I believe that our mission is really around building this community. I think that research and education, they are the glue that holds this community that is mainly based on generosity. And I think that in the end of the day, what we really want is to have the knowledge, you know, ubiquitously available to everyone that needs that knowledge and to help the development. So that is the idea that I think I wish to convey in order to answer the question of this panel. So really, this is about building communities, and our community is a very interesting one because I believe it's built on generosity. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Enrico. Unfortunately, we need to discuss many things, but I think we should leave the room very soon. So if you allow me to, I will not summarize things because to avoid wasting more time. I will pass one by one to send his last message. I will start with my brother Abu Majid, Mr. Fahim. 1 minute, please, if you want to send any message. Okay, in this case, let me ask Muhammad Al-Hajari, please. Muhammad, do you like to send one minute message from your place? Okay, Yusuf Asfour.
Thank you, Yusuf. I don't have much to add other than to say, if you're thinking of innovation and research, then think of building communities and collaboration. If you focus on that, then the innovation will come across. Thank you.
Thank you. Fahim, please.
Thank you,
minute
Dr.
message.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. The minute message is exactly as Yusuf said, establish this community. However, think how you create sustainability and innovation in your area.
Thank you, Dr. Fahim. Dr. Muhammad Hajri, if you like.
Yes, message from Omran is for the decision makers to support Emblem with their policies.
Thank you, Raed.
Thank you, Mr. Yusuf. In 1 minute, as a librarian, everything is dynamic and evolving, and for libraries, we need to be innovative, focus on services where we merge the library expertise with the IT to support education and research. Thank you.
Thank you. Enrico?
Well, I believe that we have a long way to run, of course, but I'm very proud that of what we achieved so far, and I believe that we are in the right track. So I'm really hopeful on the things that we can produce and in the very near future, because we are there, and we are seeing the end of the pandemic, hopefully. And I believe that we will be able to do much more in the years to come. But that's the way I feel. I feel hopeful, with the future, and proud of what we achieved so far, with all the difficulties that we faced.
Okay, thank you, Enrico, very much. Thank you all our panelists. It's really distinguished. I enjoyed all the presentation. They are from different views, different angles. I think we need, as ASTRIN, we will take every recommendation together as usually, and we will take it further all together. We are here to cooperate, and we are doing that all together. Let me thank the organizers, ISQA and other organizations, League of Arab States, and the other organizations, and we will take it further to cooperation, and also into cooperation with ISQA and other communities. We are here as a start. Actually, we are starting cooperation with the regional and international organizations, and I hope our message will go to the responsible people in terms either funding organization, telecom operators, regulators, authorities, and so on. And I know we have to close the room, so let me thank the organizers and leave the floor to them again. Thank you. Thank you, Rita and Malak and others who I can't see their names. Nancy, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. Thank you all the colleagues.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Barakallah fiik.
Assalam.
Barakallah fiik.
the slogan of shaping our digital future. The Arab International Digital Cooperation and Development Forum, DCDF, will bring together representatives and experts from Arab governments, the business sector, civil society, the technical community, academia, and international organizations. DCDF will be held virtually from 13 to 23 December 2021 by ESCO, LAS, ITU, UNCTAD, and UN-SDGs. Through almost 30 sessions over 8 days, you can participate in policy debate on priority issues in the fields of internet policies and digital development globally and in the Arab region. DCDF aims to align the Arab tracks of the World Summit on the Information Society and the Internet Governance Forum to maximize opportunities for digital cooperation. Register now to join us in this journey from 13 to 23 December. Together, let's shape our digital future.